So my experiments with chess, and the thing about my startups is it always starts with these two questions: what if? And my first startup was back in 2010. I had this question: what if we do art exhibitions along staircases? Because staircases are dull, depressing. What if we do art exhibitions along them? Will more people take them? Will it be greener? Will people meet along staircases? And in 2011, I realized it's not making me money. The next what if question is, what if I don't have money in my bank account for a few more months? So I went back to something that made me money. So going forward in 2017, my new what if question is, what if we take a chessboard and we make it into half of its size? So how many of the people here know how to play chess? And how many find it very exciting? And how many find it like sort of boring and have not played it for a couple of years? So, okay guys, so if somebody really wants to play chess, you can play half chess with them. So like this started back in 2000. So this what if question like came back in 2015. There's this NGO near my home, and they teach football to slum kids. So I had been seeing those kids for a while, and I saw that there's a gap in their confidence levels compared to the kids who live in societies next door, So when they started learning football, they got really good at it, and they shared the same field, so they started playing together, and it really helped those kids in the slum areas, and I'm sure it also helped the kids in the societies because they got a wider perspective of society. I'm sure they felt happier that they had more. So that was great. I was really impressed with seeing these changes over an year of these kids getting good with football, and they got really good at it. So then I asked one of those kids, because I thought they had really improved their personality outside of the school. I wanted to know how they were doing in their schools. And well, what do you think? How were they doing in the schools after learning football, and like being exposed to? So like, okay, how many think they were doing better? And how many think they were doing same? Okay, so interesting. Like all of us thought they were doing better, but actually it was not the case. They were still struggling at school. Like they were like. It was still as bad for them, like they were just looking for the school to get over and them to get on the football ground. So I thought, okay, if football can do so much for them outside of their school, if they need to get more confidence on their mental skills, then it has to be chess. And I was in love with chess already, like it helped me get through times when I had no money in my bank account. And So there are some other interesting stories about chess in India. There's a village in Kerala where they had alcohol problems, and somebody learned how to play chess, and soon the whole village was playing chess. And what happens in villages is that after it gets dark, there's not much to do, and that's when you feel like drinking. So when I go to villages, I feel like drinking after 6 o'clock. So when they started playing chess, it gave them something to do, and it became the chess village of India. I mean, not many people in India also know about it, but it was really interesting. So chess has this impact on community. It has this impact on education. So coming back to chess, like I wanted to teach these kids chess, but a lot of these kids found chess boring. So I thought, okay, I could apply the principles of gamification to chess. Let's make it simple, and as they get better at it, and as they get hooked to it, we can increase the size of chessboard. So this is a half chessboard, and that's some other experiment I did in half chess. Like I made a piece crab, which moves zigzag, and I started giving recently I started going to these small places and just giving like 2-3 hours of chess lessons. And one of the things I do with kids there is that I ask them to come up with their own chess piece. Like somebody came up with a mongoose which would go 2 steps forward, attack, and then come back. And somebody came up with an eagle which could jump over other pieces in a diagonal way, blah, blah. So you could come with a lot of other pieces if you just start thinking about it. And and then coming back to tech. So this is the stack I use. So one of my constraints was I was a single developer, and using JavaScript allowed me to build the backend, build the front end, and support the web, and also Android and iOS. So I used Cordova for that, and so the trade-off was bad user experience. Like it's a really simple app. If you go to halfchess.com and download the app, it's a very simplistic app, but I was okay with that trade-off because initially you want to just figure out if your idea has some potential or not. Then other things that helped me move forward were Firebase. It's a real-time database, and to make two-player games, it's a challenge. You would need sockets otherwise, but because there was Firebase, even though there was latency, I could do it. And now I'm going to move to React Native. And then this is the interesting part. Like there's a P4WN chess engine. Like there were a lot of different chess engines that I could use, but I chose P4WN because the lines of code were less than 1500. Like it's like 1500 lines of code, and it works. So so if you look at my chessboard, it's a smaller chessboard, which means that it's an exponentially simpler problem to solve, right? The real chessboard has more possibilities than the atoms of universe. So P4WN would do just fine for me. And so how many of us know how does a chess engine work? Quick shot, anyone wants to take like? No, not somebody who knows. So okay, it's not that complicated, okay? The first step for all games and also for the chess engine, all board games, is you generate a list of all possible moves, which is all possible next possible states, right? So once we have all those possible states, the next thing we want to do is we want to know which is the better one. So you score all the possible moves. For example, if I am getting a checkmate in the next move, it's -9999. But if I'm winning a piece, it is +1 or +2 or +8. And if I do it over a couple of iterations, then I have the best move. So this is like you go over a tree and you see which is the best move, but this is like the simplest way of building a chess engine, and the more complicated chess engines have more things on top of this layer, which are hard to code in this. So there you would have strategies, like you would not be allowed to move king for a first, like it's bad to move your king in the first couple of moves because then you would not be able to castle. But P4WN just worked fine for me. So what we're going to do is that, like quickly, I'm going to show you P4WN, and this is like a, so I cloned P4WN, and this is a P4WN chess engine, right? So I'm going to do a very simple experiment here. I'm going to remove all pawns from one side and let the all pawns from the other side be. Anything else we want to add? Okay, so this is what we'll do. So so now we don't have 8 pawns on the black side, so this guy is going to lose, right? So you could do a lot of other things, like somebody may want to move the horse 3.5 steps, or you could come up with a new strong piece on the board, and P4WN is great for that because it's just 1500 lines of code. Then we'll just move ahead with the talk. So sorry, this was a really short demo, but next. So there's some other experiments that I'm really interested in, and some of, like, Half Chess sadly is not open source, but P4WN is open source, and so is some other things that I'm doing. So I'm building, like, based on Half Chess, I'm building a chess game for blind people. So like I took some designs from internet, and then I added some of my own things, and then I built this AutoCAD design. And if you take a look at this is open source. So yeah, so this is a chessboard. The pieces are blocks. So and then this is black and white because you could see it, like you could sense it, not just see it. And each of these pieces has the directions in which they will move. So that is one of the confusions people have initially. Which piece, how does it move? So this is a bishop, it moves a bishop, it moves diagonally. And then there are some other pieces queen, it moves in all directions. The rook, it moves in straight lines. The pawn, it moves forward. So so I don't think this is just a game for blind people, but I also think this is a game for those chess enthusiasts who want to learn how to play blind chess, because smaller board makes it much easier. So, so the other experiment that I've been doing is chess volunteering. So usually it takes a long, like if we go and teach chess to some people, like some place, it's going to take a week. But if I just break down and teach some principles of chess, I can do it in an hour. I can just make a couple of games with pawns and knights, and like finish my workshop in 2-3 hours, and then I can leave it for them to figure out how to learn better. So this is some other experiment that so you could so if like somebody is really into exercise and you want to get them into chess, so there are two ways: either you get them into chess boxing, or you get them into squat chess. So here you have to, like, when you're making a move, you have to squat. So and that's it. That's it. So if anything is interesting, you can always get in touch with me, and I would love to answer your questions. Stay in touch. Thank you.